Hey, I'm on the edge of my seat here, back again with another brand new video, and today I will be no damaging all of the beginning of mission 10, which I kinda no damaged. I definitely no damaged that part, but I decided to abandon this specific recording of it because the way I went about this was a little bit slow and sluggish because this was originally a test run which I was doing to get familiar with the level, but I accidentally did the entire level without getting hit once. But because it was a test run, I explored too much of the building and it was just a little bit sluggish and slow. I wasted a lot of time. So I abandoned it because I was like, I'm going to do it again now that I know how the level works, but in a way that's not slow and boring. And it took me 5 or 6 more attempts, which makes me think I really should have just stuck with this attempt and should have saved at the right moment. When I say that I abandoned this run, it means that I reached a save point and I didn't save at that point and I reloaded a checkpoint and it brought me back all the way to my first save point. And also another annoying thing about this game is the way it handles checkpoints. So also this run is I'm using famous YouTubers ifreemz. I'm using his video where he no damaged Alien Isolation as a basis for the strategies in my video. I do plan on making a full video no damaging the entirety of Alien Isolation, not including DLC. It's going to be the main story. It's going to be around 4 hours long. And yeah, that video will be coming in, say, a week, maybe a few days, give or take. I'm over halfway done with the game. I'm 2 hours in. I've done 10 missions. There's 19 missions in this game. One of them not really being a mission, more like an epilogue to the game. Well, yes. Epilogue. It's just it's kind of like a little ending cutscene per se. But yeah, no. I'm already doing a little bit of a speedrun strategy at the moment. It looks like I'm doing a speedrun strategy. Basically, I'm tapping shift. I mean, a lot of what I'm going to say here, I'm probably going to also repeat in my 4-hour long video, and also here I'm recording myself. I'm not sure if I'm really going to be recording myself for my 4-hour long commentary, kind of like my main commentary here, but I'm just kind of experimenting with this and seeing how it all plays out. But yeah, no, Alien Isolation. This was a game I really wanted to hop into here. I wanted to show off Cup of Joe's, because what you have to do at this point, you have to call this train. It's number 2, and you have to know that it's number 2, because if you don't get the right train, well, then you have to just call the other one and just kind of keep waiting over and over and over again. However, I did say that this was an attempt that I abandoned, but the first 2 minutes of this video will actually be in my full 4-hour long video because I did not realize they were going to put a manual save at this exact point. The way I wanted to do this video is I'm going to do it segmented, the full video. And the segments are going to be between save points, so every time I have to cut to introduce a new segment, it was going to be from save point to save point. But I fucked up here because in this attempt I abandoned it. And I thought, once I reload a checkpoint, it's just going to take me back to my previous save point. No, it takes me back to that train. So I still needed this footage because I need to kind of splice it into the next attempt somehow. And it just kind of fucks up my whole flow and mojo. I don't know, I feel like this point is just kind of, choose one. Is it either manual save points or is it automatic save points? Because, if you're doing both at the same time, you're just going to confuse the shit out of me. So, it's not like the automatic, checkpoint, save points are everywhere in this game. They're very scarce compared to the manual save points. But it's what the hell. So yeah, during this pretty much almost this entire chapter, once you get off the train there and enter this place, you cannot run anywhere. This is on nightmare difficulty. And nightmare difficulty comes with some changes I was not expecting, and it pretty much made my run harder. Number 1, nightmare difficulty gets rid of your map. Okay, I did not even know that was a thing that was going to happen. This game, it's not the most confusing game ever. It's not like Thief the Dark Project with some of its areas. It really isn't. But it can still kind of throw you for a loop, especially when you're trying to hide from the alien or quickly get away from it. One wrong turn will make things a lot more complicated for you. So yeah, here and also this is one thing which I wasted a lot of time doing. I went up the wrong stairs. I want to go up the other stairs because I want to go to this table. I want to collect some items there. I want to go down there to that other kitchen area, collect more items there. Nightmare difficulty also makes loot a lot more scarce, so you're going to have a lot less ammo, you're going to have a lot less crafting materials, so on and so forth. Another thing I don't like about nightmare difficulty is just you can't see your health bar anymore, which is pretty fucking crazy if I want to do a no damage run, because there is the possibility that maybe sometimes I'll take damage and I won't even notice. That drives me nuts. What if that happens? But yeah, you can't run, but you can walk. That one thing which I did not think was going to be possible on nightmare difficulty is walking. I thought you had to crouch walk everywhere. That's not necessarily true. If you walk normally, and if the alien's not in the area, it should not pop out and try to get you. It should not be able to hear you. However, I'm doing a little speedrun strat where I'm kind of like semi running. It's basically just like, walking, but you tap the run button slightly. You don't hold it, you tap it, like just like rhythmically. And if you do that, the alien should not be able to hear you. It should not count as making noise. Another thing you can do is you can spam the crouch in order to like, it'll count as being crouched, but you'll move slightly faster. You have to like tap it, not hold it, so on and so forth. Same thing here. So yeah, sometimes there might be some loot down here. I'm not even sure if I'm right on that. Because that's another thing, like loot is also, not only is it more scarce, it's random. So, no two playthroughs of this game are ever the same. There's a lot of random elements. I mean, the aliens, like, AI is random. And I don't know too much about the alien's AI. What I do know is that speedrunners pretty much have like an in-joke with this alien. They call him Steve. I don't know why they call him Steve, but yeah, it's just, whenever they're like talking about like strategies on how to avoid the alien, they're always like, oh, we have to deal with Steve here, Steve there. But yeah, once you reach this terminal, you have to use it to pretty much open the door. I mean, the characters in the game basically just explain it to you like flat out. But, I'm just letting you know right now. And yeah, I am recording this in 4K OBS. I am using like kind of like a simple output settings. Like, I mean, I have it to be like a medium-sized file, like high quality, but medium-sized. You can go higher, but 4K medium-sized quality is going to take up a lot of gigabytes either ways. And it's going to be a 4-hour-long video in 4K. It's going to take up a lot of gigabytes. And I'm very glad for my new PC, which allows me to like record like higher quality videos, like when I no damaged all the long battles in Yakuza 8, Yakuza 7, and there might have been another secret 4K video I did along the way from Yakuza 8 and Yakuza 7. And now I'll also be able to record 1440p footage from my Nintendo Wii and my PS2 using my upscaler, which using an experimental firmware update, I was able to like upscale to 1440p. But yeah, right now what I have to do, syncing. Yeah, no. So this gimmick of recording myself, I don't think I'm gonna like stick with it. I'm just kind of like fucking around with this video, because I'm gonna have to like sync up the video and the audio every time I do like a new segment, because like I do tend to yap for very long like stretches of time, but I very rarely like do an entire video in one take. It's like made up of multiple takes, give or take, because sometimes I kind of like my brain kind of like dozes off. I kind of have to like get back on track, kind of get the energy going again. But yeah, no, like Alien Romulus was like pretty much the big inspiration for why I wanted to hop on this game. I did see the original Alien in Chicago in theaters, like on film, at U Chicago. It's just the university has like their own little theater system, and they show stuff on film. It's like a little student-run thing. It's very cool. So I got to see a lot of dope stuff there. I got to see the original Alien. I recently saw Aliens, didn't like it as much as the original Alien, but it's got some dope stuff in it, like a lot of like dope blocking, like action, so on and so forth. Most video games have ripped off the second Aliens movie. Just a lot of things have ripped off the second Aliens movie. I have not seen Alien 3 or Resurrections. Pretty sure Resurrections is kind of like a big avoid, but once I drop my full video, I kind of want to have like the most amount of like stuff to talk about with this franchise, so I really do think I gotta watch those. I mean, I don't know if I want to watch Alien versus Predator. I mean, this is not a Predator game. I don't really have to talk about it. This isn't even Alien versus Predator, the video game, so I think I'm gonna save my watch-throughs of those movies until I have to like no damage Alien versus Predator. Right now, it's just Alien, so I'm going to stick to the Alien franchise. I also saw Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I do like those movies quite a bit. I have a bit of my issues with them. They get a little bit boring, and the characters do just kind of flat out explain everything to you. Like, I don't know, they have a way of, like, expositing dialogue that gets, like, very annoying in, like, Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I don't know. It feels like a little bit grating, though I don't think it's the biggest issue in the world. Prometheus is the prettier movie. Alien Covenant isn't nearly as like well shot, but it's still really well shot. Like, I mean, the shots that communicate like the vibes and themes and tones. Like, it's still a really nice looking movie, just that Prometheus looks nicer. That's all there is to that. And also, since like Halloween is coming up, in a month, it's gonna take a while to get here, but I think I should start beelining some horror games, just like some walkthroughs of horror games, though. I may be returning to Yakuza in a bit of an unexpected fashion, and here's another example of me wasting time. I didn't plan for the fact that I wasn't going to have enough scrap, so here I am just kind of fucking around with the menu, like, oh, what do I do? And also, while exploring this area, I did get kind of lost. I'm kind of like, oh, where specifically do I have to go? Do I have to go up? Do I have to go down? At some point, I'm going to go, like, up the stairs when I'm supposed to actually go down the stairs, and then I'm going to, like, just reverse my way back there because I didn't know what I was doing. Even when I built an item, I still had, like, leftover scrapped. And yeah, that smoke bomb is going to be important for a part of this mission, which is not in this video. This video does not cover the entirety of mission 10 because mission 10 is actually quite a long mission. See there? You can like pick up like parts to update your map, and in normal gameplay, you know, not on this difficulty, your map would actually get updated, but here, you're never going to have map data, so you just have to know these areas like inside and out, or just learn them while playing the game, which, you know, when you have an alien chasing you, learning the area just isn't very good. So I really do recommend a playthrough of this game not on nightmare difficulty, and then you do nightmare difficulty. And also, if you're gonna do any of those achievements, like collect all the audio logs or like flight logs or whatever, probably best not to do it on nightmare difficulty. Oh, brother. Honestly, one of the most fun things about this game is just reading all like the text logs, like, you know, hearing the audio logs, just like really getting sucked into the atmosphere of this world. Even though the main story itself doesn't really interest me too much, but like, you know, reading all the text is like still really fascinating. Just like hearing like the survivors' stories, you know, how they got along, the issues they have with other people, like the corruption of the company. It's all very fascinating. It's all very like, you know, well done, and it's very engrossing, you know, like just immersive. Yeah, I mean, nearly every single game does this. I don't know, it is kind of like a cliche to have like all these recording and text files basically like elaborate the story for you, but you know, it works, it's good. I mean, as long as it's well written and all that, but you know, I mean, I had fun with it. That guy's neck is completely fucked up. Like this section right here, I run into a bit of a doozy. I think I wasted maybe a little bit more time than I should, but the close encounters here are like really fun. Oh no, I mean, one thing which I do in this area is I think I like needlessly waste flamethrower ammo. Like the strategy here is, yeah, the alien's probably going to pop up at some point. If he pops up once, we're going to flamethrower him away. Yeah, he's right here. So the way you do the flamethrower, like speedrun attacks, is you tap it. You don't like hold it down because the ammo is going to be really scarce for this thing. So what you want to do is just kind of like tap the flamethrower at this guy until he goes away. And ideally, if he did things correctly, you should only have to do it like 3 times or so, but they are kind of fucked up the distancing. And also, you shouldn't get too close to the alien when you're flamethrowing him. And also, just you really have to lock down on that timing, because if you fuck up the timing, the alien's gonna do this like hilarious thing where it just like runs at you and just pushes you. But mind you, when it pushes you, it does damage you. It's kind of like it gets fed up with you, like, stop fucking flamethrowing me, and like just like does a little like football tackle like at you. It doesn't like kill you. It like football tackles you and then it runs away. Though I have had situations where I tried to flamethrower it and it just grabs me anyways because I fucked up the timing of like my taps. Maybe I like tapped and like in the middle of my taps I was vulnerable and it just got me in that moment. But yeah, the alien AI, I mean, I don't know too much about it. I mean, I only really hear conjecture here. I may be right on this, I may be wrong, but I saw like a comment section which said that alien's AI is kind of like programmed in such a way where a part of the AI will always know where you are, but it's designed to like not fully take advantage of that. Like it'll like kind of investigate the area, which it definitely knows where you are, and if you stay hidden like that entire time, the alien will go away at that point. But then there's like an element of randomness in that alien, so like it's kind of random when the alien will drop. Like yeah, there is like a lot of scripted sections where it kind of has to do this, it kind of has to not do this, so on and so forth. And here I'm pretty sure I went the wrong way. I'm supposed to go the right way, but it's not going to matter too much. Now we have to take advantage of like a very risky strategy. I mean, this strategy is specifically to avoid risk, but it's just like, it's such a scary strategy to pull off. You have to like hit the wrench against this wall to draw out the alien and then go into hiding somewhere. And to go into hiding, I'm going to spam the crouch walking just to be a little bit more stealthy, though I don't know how much this is helping me. And also, you're really supposed to not hide in this corner. You're supposed to hide in the corner on the other side of like this hallway. If this is the left corner, you have to hide in the right corner, because I'm pretty sure the alien is scripted to run through that door and I just missed it somehow, or like the alien ran away like somewhere else. Because the situation you're in right now is just, you're waiting for like the lockdown to be lifted on the door to your right, the one with like the little red gate. And once that goes up, the alien's gonna be scripted to like fuck off somewhere. And the area he's supposed to fuck off to is to the behind you. And if you stay hidden in this corner, you should still be hidden. It's just that I didn't capture him like running past me. I also didn't hear him running past me. So it's just kind of like, I mean, I was just so confused. I'm like, where did he go? What happened? What did he do? So yeah, the alien is random. It kind of always knows where you are, but doesn't take full advantage of that. And that's not accounting when the alien glitches out. So he's just terrifying. He's always terrifying. I mean, even if you're following like a perfect speedrun strategy, there are no perfect speedrun strategies, because the alien can still sometimes like kind of show up and be like, hi, and just give you like a little surprise, like a little nudge. Now, I'm not going to do a speed run of this game. I did say my video was going to be 4 hours. No speed run of this game is 4 hours long. It's going to be a normal walkthrough, but without taking damage. And when see, I didn't need to enter that area at all. See, it's just kind of like superfluous. But since like this was a test run and I didn't fully know what I was doing, I'm kind of like exploring. I'm trying to get some loot. I don't know what the optimal moving around path is at this exact moment. So I am kind of taking things like slower than I should be. Like, I think, like, in my full run, as in, like, you know, the run which I improved upon, which took me, like, 5 or 6 more attempts, I got this down to, like, 13 minutes or 12 minutes, like, this section in particular, not counting the bus ride beforehand, which will be in the full video because I have no choice. The manual save just kind of kicked in, and I had no idea that it kicked in, so I can't control that. Like, that's, like, one thing which scares me about this game is, like, what if I activate a manual save? Like, a manual save always happens when you enter a new mission. But I was not expecting it to happen in the middle of the same mission. But then again, this mission is kind of like egregiously long in comparison to the stuff you've encountered before. Like, this mission is like 3 to 4 missions in one mission. And honestly, I mean, that's not even a bad thing. It's just that, like, they put a checkpoint in the middle of this mission because it is such a big mission. So yeah, here, we don't actually have to go into this room. I'm just going to save at... The plan was I save at this point, but I'm kind of like, wait, hold up. This thing which I'm doing right now was a test run, and it was a very sloppy one, but ooh, I did no damage though. Should I save this run? Should I not save this run? So I'm like considering all these thoughts, and I think I just leave the game pause and leave because I'm kind of like, you know what, I'm gonna abandon this run. So yeah, it was at this point in time where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna abandon this run. It's not gonna happen anymore, and it's just, I basically screwed myself over because then I spent like another hour getting another run, which is better in the long run, but like it was a pain in the ass. I already had it. It was perfect. It worked. I mean, like, you know, I didn't have to, like, waste a flamethrower that much, though thankfully, in my new run, I also don't waste a flamethrower that much, so that works out for me. I'm drinking some tea with ice in it. Very nice for the throat when you're kind of, like, yapping a whole bunch, though I'm pretty sure that hot tea is supposed to work better, you know? I always keep avoiding lemon drop tea, but I don't have any good tea places near me, so whatever lemon drop tea is, I'm probably going to have to make it myself. You know, with maybe a little bit of honey in it and just actually heat it up, just be at the home, at the crib. I don't make tea. I have made coffee before, well, with a coffee machine. And, like, I mean, 2 different coffee machines. I mean, I have one with, like, a capsule, and I have one which, like, actually takes, like, the coffee grains, which you can buy at the store, little grains. I do have a machine which takes that, and it's a very nice machine. So I've used both. So I kind of have an idea about how to make coffee. But then there's, like, a more rudimentary coffee system where you kind of have to, like, grind the beans yourself. I have not done that yet. That is something which I still have to kind of like learn, adapt to, just kind of like lock into. But yeah, once I'm done recording this commentary, I will be hitting the gym, just kind of doing my similar strategy of doing 100 pull-ups every single day, just to get better at doing pull-ups. Before I was doing it kind of like this, now I'm doing it like this, give or take. But yeah, no, that is my commentary video. You might be saying, hey, this commentary video is 27 minutes. You're at a pause screen for 2 to 3 minutes at a time. You know, what's going on here? What's changed? Well, what's changed is I recently saw the Dan Da Dan world premiere in theaters, which shows the first 3 episodes plus a Q&A, but I ran into a little conundrum. Basically, there were 2 7 p.m. times at the theater I went to, and the one 7 p.m. time was a smaller theater, and the other 7 p.m. time was a bigger theater, and I chose a seat at the smaller theater. But once I reached the theater and went to like the theater which it was at, the theater was completely empty. So I went back to the guy like, hey yo, what's going on here? He told me, go to the other screening, you know? And I'm like, oh, I have this specific seat. And he's like, you know what? Currently, there's no one at that seat yet. You know, maybe go and see if it works. So I went, I sat in that seat. But then, and I pretty much like entered that screening like a little late to the Q&A. I think like half of the Q&A already happened, and that's when I pulled up. I mean, they were like kind of like the original mangaka, the guy who made the manga of Dan Da Dan, was talking with like the voice actor of like the dude with the glasses, one of the main characters, and they were just kind of yapping about stuff, you know, like elaborating on their processes, their life, intellectual arts, PP, you know, so on and so forth. They were just kind of talking about that. And then like halfway through the halfway point of the Q&A section, a guy came up and said, hey yo, I think you're in my spot. And you know, I probably was. So then I moved to like a lower spot in the theater. But then when I was in that lower spot in this theater, I was still scanning for like other open spots, and I saw like upstairs, like, you know, higher up in this like bigger theater, there was a bit of an empty row. So I kind of went there and I sat and kind of like, it was a suspiciously empty row because this was a full cinema. It was super packed with a bunch of people because just Dan 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 has been getting super hyped up as a manga. You know, everyone loves it. It's like the #1 best thing ever from what I see, like, you know, online. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna check out this anime. I mean, the anime is animated by the same people who did Ping Pong the animation, Devil May Cry Baby, the movie with the dancing like water creature. Science Saru has like just really made a great name for themselves. They've been doing a lot of dope stuff, and just the trailer for this just has a ton of like crazy cuts and animation, and just it looks dope. So yeah, people were hyped up for this one, and yeah, but I went to this empty room, kind of like, hold up, why is this like it's like a row of like 8 seats that was completely empty, and I sat in like the second to last to the right. Didn't sit on the exact right, but I'm kind of like, okay, maybe some people are gonna pull up, and no one really pulled up. It was that entire row was just not like the entire row itself. There was still like 4 people to like the left, but like from I don't know, like say number 5 to number 8, that section was just empty, and I just had that entire row to myself, the entire screening. I don't know what happened. I guess maybe like a group bought out those tickets and just didn't show up, or maybe it has something to do with the cancellation of the smaller theater screening of the Dan 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 thing, because they didn't even specifically tell me why that theater was empty. It just was. Like I pulled up and it was just completely empty. I'm like, hold up. This thing's at 7. I'm here at 7:20, and this theater's completely empty. That does not add up. So I don't know what happened with the management or whatnot, and I'm reaching for coffee that doesn't exist at that current moment. But yeah, no. Because me sitting at this pause screen for so long was part of the recording, I decided to include it because I want to mention this recording and this whole process in like my full video, but I don't want to erase this recording. You know, I kind of want to like preserve it somehow, so I'm going to preserve it in the form of a commentary video. This will also maybe serve as a bit of an update for people who are still waiting for like another big video. But yeah, no. I might be no damaging a Yakuza game in some fashion, somewhat soon, in a month or so. But I also plan on no damaging Parasite Eve and also streaming Parasite Eve. I'm waiting on a PS1 copy I bought, and I have a PS2. And hey, my 1440p output is going to come back because I can record that game at 1440p in the sense of I can use my RetroThink 5X to upscale the PS2 output to 1440p, and maybe that works for PS1 games as well. Maybe the game will look nice. Yeah, I won't be emulating. I will be playing on original hardware on some sense because PS2s are backwards compatible. PS3s in the beginning were also backwards compatible until the new models came out, and those new models, I believe, were not backwards compatible. Sadly, the PS3 which I have, which I borrowed from a friend, not backwards compatible. PS4s, not backwards compatible with the PS3, sadly, and they never were. And so the thing is, the PS3's hardware, I mean, I don't know much about hardware or console making, but apparently it's like a clusterfuck. Like, a lot of developers had a hard-ass time developing for the PS3, just because, like, there were so many, like, weird things to it. It was, like, so advanced in some ways, and just, like, very, like, I don't know specifically what the issue with it was, but it was just, like, that's the reason like some people have issues like porting games from the PS3. Maybe that's like the issue they're running into right now, trying to port Metal Gear Solid 4 to like modern consoles in 60 FPS or whatnot. And now I'm thinking about the port of Devil May Cry 3 to like modern consoles or whatever, like the HD collection, where they actually made the graphics worse, because in Devil May Cry 3 on the original PS2, there was like some transparency to Dante's hair, so you can actually like see through his hair and like see his eyes. But like in the most modern like HD collections, the new HD model of his hair is like a solid block. It's not transparent at all, so it just completely covers his eyes and kind of ruins like the more cinematic aspects of the original game. I mean, it is still the same game, it just looks worse. And same thing with Devil May Cry 1, like some blurring effects and like some backgrounds got a little bit fucked up when they tried to make them more HD, so on and so forth. Which is a shame because I never played the original PS2 versions of Devil May Cry 1 or 3. I only played the HD collections, though. My first exposures to those games were on the Xbox 360, the HD collections of those games. Then I played the PS4 version, then I played the Switch version, but I'm pretty sure that a majority of those versions, maybe not the Xbox 360 HD collection version, but I'm pretty sure that the PS4 and the Switch versions have these graphical issues. Mind you, I've no damaged all the boss fights in Devil May Cry 1 on the Switch version specifically, and honestly for the lols, I think I'm going to do the same thing with Devil May Cry 3 eventually, but that's going to take a while because I have to do like multiple playthroughs of that game in order to unlock Dante Must Die, and also unlock all the upgrades, and just be fully prepped to like actually combat those boss fights, which are super hard on Dante like Must Die. I don't think I've beaten Devil May Cry 3 on Dante Must Die. That's kind of the thing. I've only beaten it on like hard or very hard or something, because that game can get super super tough. I kind of like skipped a couple like difficulty things. I didn't want to do Heaven or Hell. Just, it's a lot, but I want to get back to it eventually. But after Parasite Eve, like the next horror game I'm interested in like no damaging is Silent Hill 2, because I own the PC edition of that game. Even though I own it, I'm probably gonna have to do a bunch of bullshit to like crack it and just make it like full screen 4K, you know, record it there, and controller support. But the reason I'm gonna do Silent Hill 2 is, well, the remake is coming out, so I thought, why not no damage the original? And also, I want to no damage like the first Silent Hill, like the first 4 Silent Hill games, and we'll eventually do the other ones. But I'm most interested in the first 4 games, you know, 1, 2, 3, The Room. I don't know if the PSP one came after or before those, but those are the ones I want to do. And Silent Hill 2, out of those first 4, is easily the easiest game. So if I'm gonna like, you know, go through the trouble of no damaging the entirety of like those 4 games, 2 is like the easiest jumping on point, and it's also like one of the most popular jumping on points, so you know that kind of works in my favor. But it is one of the easiest ones. It is like the most convenient one to jump into. Well, aside from all the setup I have to do with, you know, setting it up, doing it on, so on and so forth. And also when like looking at this footage, I saw that like I blinked a lot. Like I mean, I'm just a big blinker, and I think I do it like just like subconsciously isn't really the right word. Like just involuntarily, I just be blinking a lot. I think it's actually gonna take more effort for me not to blink. I don't know what looks more psychotic, blinking too much or not blinking at all. I feel like blinking means that, you know, kind of displays a sense of nervousness, but not blinking just kind of like shows like it's like way too much intensity. You know, like normal people do not blink. You have to blink eventually. You know, like video game models, like, I mean, they'll be coded to blink just to like feel nice and natural. Well, as nice and natural as most video game models could be. I mean, there are some video game models that like feel pretty lifelike, but you know, you can't make like lifelike animations for, say, an 100-hour game without cutting some corners here and there. And that's fine. So yeah, I wanted to include this section because this is the exact moment where I found out that the game already did a manual save without me knowing. And I'm like, what? Where's my save point? No! I'm like pissed. I fucking hate this. But yeah, no, the video is now over. Thank you so much for sticking around for this kind of a goof and a gaff, and I'll see you next time for my full 4-hour long no damage of the entirety of Alien Isolation. Peace out.